everyone this morning? You are magnificent. You know what? Let's just get right into it. Let's start. There are directives. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Sing that all again. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Here we go. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Oh, what a good way to get the blood going in the morning. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome. I am this hyper, and I am this enthusiastic, and I have this much energy, and it's not just coffee. A little bit of it is coffee. So good morning, welcome to Tucson New Thought. We are a spiritual community that joins every single Sunday with this in mind, that we are here to celebrate one thing only. John's like, I want to answer. So what is that, John? Love. We are here to celebrate love. And the way that we understand love is that love is an infinite creative source, an infinite creative energy, and it is who and what each and every one of us is. Every molecule of our beingness is the expression of love in form. And so when we align ourselves with that notion, life just gets better. That's what I stand for, and that's what I teach. So that's what we are here to know. We come together with this vision in mind, that we are here to create a world that works for everyone, a world that works for everyone. And we make this vision possible by engaging our mission, which is to provide practical tools for personal transformation and awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. Because here's what I know. Actually, so we do have some new faces in the room this week, and I would love for us to acknowledge those people who are in the room for the first time. And if you've been here before, let us let them know what we know about them. And it is that you are magnificent. You are magnificent. It says so right there. And we know that you are magnificent because magnificence is an attribute of this infinite divine love, this creative energy that is who and what we are. So we are simply recognizing in you that which is true for ourselves. So let us each exclaim for ourselves, I am magnificent. I am magnificent. Yes, yes, yes. I would love for us to take just a couple of moments to stand up, greet our friends and neighbors, and let them know their magnificence in our own unique, individualized way. And I do want to say hello to everybody who is watching online. Hello, I'm waving to you from way back over here. And I would love to remind you that I see you. You are as much a part of this community as anybody who is physically in the room, that we feel your energy, and I'm so grateful that you've decided to spend this time with us. So welcome. You are magnificent. Have a great day and enjoy the celebration. chair for the top row.
I'm not as cute as Norm.
Yeah, but I already had somebody lined up to be here.
I'm sure they're cuter than me.
Karimon, would you join me on stage?
I was right.
Are you sure? You're welcome to share. All right. Are you guys, have you figured it out? All right, all coordinated. Oh, can I? All right, here's how you can share. William, there's the script. So for those of you who are here for the first time, please welcome Karimon Pierce and William Summers, who apparently want to take over.
All right. We're nothing if not spontaneous here. So every week we do something that is Jonathan and one of our favorite things that we do during our service. And it's called Lighting the Flames of Faith, where we honor the many traditions around the world. And so we light the first candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the divine will of love as the highest calling. We light a candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light a candle for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space that we are holding for them, and for all faith traditions unnamed in this ceremony. And this last one, to me the most meaningful one. We light a candle to represent the healing of any circumstance that requires divinity to be revealed. This is your candle for whatever is in your mind that requires illumination.
Thank you. When I consider the concept of healing, the concept of the revelation of divinity, when I came across this image, it just evoked that sense in me that revealing divinity is healing, and that is the light that is sourced from within. And it's funny that it came up in the 9 a.m. gathering. You know, I do a random reading out of our primary text, The Science of Mind, and then do an impromptu message based on whatever it is that I read. And it came up this morning, and I had to give some people some trigger warnings. And you can keep playing if you want. I like being underscored. that in the book there was a reference to the Christian scripture, the New Testament, where it said, "Ye are the light of the world." And I do believe that when we truly settle into that notion, we understand the meaning of being the light of the world, that we are, each and every one of us, healers. It is rooted in that consciousness that I choose to express and experience my life. One of the ways that we do that is through a recognition of peace. And so I invite you to turn your attention to this candle on your right, which is our peace candle. And I have chosen to honor the notion of peace by keeping this candle consistently illuminated as a reflection that it is reflective of the consistent illumination of peace in our own hearts. And as we know that that is the light that is at the core, and we express that and expand and expand and expand on that idea, we create the experience of peace in this world. But it all starts right here, just like that. So we honor this candle by utilizing these modified words of James Dillett Freeman in a prayer that he wrote called the Prayer for Protection. And I'd like for you, please, to recite this with me. Truly, the light of peace surrounds us, the love of peace enfolds us, the power of peace protects us, and the presence of peace watches over us. Wherever we are, peace is. And I wanted to say something a little bit more about this prayer. The words that we have modified is everywhere you see it says peace, the original says God. Truly the light of God surrounds us, and so on and so forth. And I had some people ask me about why do we not utilize the word God? And I said, well, we actually do. Peace is a synonym for God. Just as love is a synonym for God, light is a synonym for God, joy is a synonym for God. And we could use any of those words. We could say, truly the light of love surrounds us. Truly the light of life surrounds us. The light of joy, the light of harmony, the light of wisdom. It surrounds us, it enfolds us. We are that which is. And so we are saying that that infinite divine presence, love, is what I choose to use, but I understand it as good, orderly direction, greatness on demand. I use God in my everyday life as well. And so allow yourself to settle into that notion. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes for just a moment and just reflect on this month's affirmation. As I will read it to you, and if you feel compelled, we can read it together. The affirmation this month is, I am infinitely unfolding in more magnificent ways every day. Hear yourself as I say this again by myself. Hear it in your own mind. I am infinitely unfolding in more magnificent ways every day. And if you'd like to open your eyes and recite it with me, it is also here. So let us say this together. I am infinitely unfolding in more magnificent ways every day. That is the truth. The special music today, I'm going to talk about a little bit after I sing it. So, just sit back and enjoy. Somebody hold me too close. Somebody hurt me too deep. Somebody sit in my chair and ruin my sleep and make me aware of being alive, being alive. Somebody need me too much. Somebody know me too well. Somebody pull me up short and put me through hell and give me support for being alive. Make me alive. Make me alive. Make me confused. Mock me with praise. Let me be used. Vary my days. But alone is alone, not alive. Somebody crowd me with love. Somebody force me to care. Somebody let me come through. I'll always be there, as frightened as you, to help us survive. Being alive, being alive, being alive. Thank you. It's so funny whenever I sing that song. And I've sung it a couple times. I've sung it only, well, actually, you know, I sang that song for the first time publicly a year and a half ago. But it's a song that I've always had as kind of my, like, it's, you know, I was an actor for a couple decades. It was in my book, your audition book, right? So you could always walk into it, here, let's do this song. And it is the ultimate number in a show that was written in the 70s called Company. And ostensibly, Company is a show about marriage. It is a show about the relationship of marriage. And all it's told in vignettes. There's no, well, they've kind of layered in an overarching connective tissue with this one character, the character that sings this song. His name is Bobby. And the connective tissue is him and his relationships with all of these married couples in his life. And it talks about his relationships with women, and it talks about, it goes through just all the aspects of marriage that you could possibly imagine. It goes through all the aspects of relationship that you could possibly imagine. And what I am always struck with is this idea that beyond the idea that it is simply about marriage, it is ultimately a show about searching. It's a show about finding something. Finding, ultimately, what I think is love. Settling into the notion, ultimately, and I think that this is where he fully arrives in my interpretation of the show, because not everybody has the same interpretation of the show. But my interpretation of the show is really rooted in this idea. The lyric where he says, alone is alone, not alive. Alone is alone, not alive. He is searching for connection, but what he comes to is that he finds the love within himself, which then opens him up to something more. To have the experience of love more profoundly in his circumstances, in his life. We all crave connection, don't we? We all crave connection. And sometimes that connection is realized. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes we crave connection from a particular individual and we can get shut out. But ultimately what it comes down to is the connection that I think we're all searching for is that connection with the infinite self. And as we align ourselves with the infinite more and more and more, which is the work we are here to do in spiritual practice, as I said before, our focus in this particular construct, the organization of this thing called Tucson New Thought, that my entire approach to it is love. Self-love. And that when we find within our own hearts that love, everything else aligns according to that idea within. Now, I spent a lot of my life before I discovered this spiritual philosophy. I would allow my mind to be utilized in a willy-nilly fashion. And I would allow myself to be affected by the things outside myself. I didn't really understand and know that I was in control of everything that I experienced. And that's the power of having come into this philosophy, is recognizing and knowing that it all starts in my own mind, in my own heart. And as I choose to be in the world, that is how my life shows up. And I am no longer subject to the things outside the self that I once thought had dominion over me. I have dominion over my entire experience of life. And so do you. We all have dominion over our experience of life. But, sometimes we encounter and experience things that are not so much fun. Or is that just me?
Yes.
The thing that I know is I can do that, and William would give a brilliant talk. So sometimes the connection is realized, sometimes it's not, but ultimately that's only in the physical world. Our work is to recognize that the connection has always infinitely existed as us, because we would not be here on this plane of existence were we not a perfect, connected, individualized expression of the infinite wholeness. I am less so now. But for a large portion of my life, I was a notorious introvert, which then surprises people. Because here's the thing, you see who I choose to be here. What you don't see are the other however many hours there are in the week. You see, 1 hour, what's up? And I'm very gregarious, and it's not inauthentic. This is a truth of who I am. And it is also a truth of who I am that I lead a very introspective, introverted life. And there's nothing wrong with either side of that equation. But what that has done for me is it's made me really connect with this character of Bobby, because I have a tendency sometimes to shy away, which I think he does as well. And his discovery is, it's not necessary. It's not necessary. So there's a beautiful, and I know that there are some people in the room who have gone to this place. There is a beautiful facility on the Monterey Peninsula in California called Asilomar. And for for decades, that was the summer gathering spot for people within the philosophy of religious science, science of mind. And they move different places now. Sometimes they go back to Asilomar. But when I was first coming of age as the spiritual master that you see before you, claim it, and it is so. As I was moving through and studying and deepening and learning, I would go to this conference every summer, and I was part of a group that was part of my previous spiritual center where I was trained, and we were the ones who didn't hug. And here's what would happen. So they would have, events throughout the week, and they would have these people stationed out in front of all the doors there to greet you. And of course, it was, oh, let me give you a hug as they're welcoming you into the room and into the hall to hear magnificent speakers and enjoy magnificent music. And we were always the ones who would come up and go, not a hugger. And then we realized, so that was the main entrance, but there was this other entrance that was down by the side. We thought, oh, you know what? If we go down there, we can just sneak in and we don't have to hug anybody, because we just didn't feel comfortable with it. We didn't feel comfortable with that physical connection for whatever reason, and it was a collective consciousness within the group that I was with. So we didn't hug, and we go down here and go through the door, and wouldn't you know it, there were huggers down there too. They knew, oh, people are going to try and sneak in down there, so okay. So we were not huggers until we were. And now I am a magnificent, prolific hugger. I love hugging. I love knowing that I can have that physical connection, and it's simply, doesn't it feel good? We do tell our greeters, though, here, I say, make sure you get permission to hug. The truth is we're never alone, ever. When he says alone is alone, not alive, the truth is we are never alone because we are always in the presence of the presence. We are always with the infinite self that is the I am that I am. We are always, always rooted and experiencing relationship with something that we can perceive as greater than we are, and yet it is exactly who and what we are. Ernest Holmes wrote, "Since everything is included in God, for God is the only presence and power that there is, a person who wants to be the most themselves will have to be the one who has discovered more of themselves in that which is greater than they are." You follow that? Okay, I see some no's. I'm going to read it again, and I'm going to break it down. Since everything is included in God, everything is God. Everything that exists. Love, whatever synonym you choose to utilize for God. Love, infinite power, source, universal mind, God, it's all one thing. There is nothing other than that. There is only this infinite energy of creation. So, since everything is included in God, for God is the only presence and power that there is, now he's speaking to each and every one of us. The person who wants to be the most themselves, that is to say, the person who wants to express most fully as themselves in their experience of life, the person who wants that will have to be the one who has discovered more of themselves in that which they perceive is greater than they are. You follow? I can break it down to you very quickly, and it actually is perfect because it came up in the first celebration, and I'm about to point to the wall, and some of you are going to go, why is he pointing to the wall? But I'm going to point to the wall and say, remember who you are. It's because in our previous space, we had that written on the wall. Remember who you are. You are the power and presence of an infinite divine source that is unstoppable, and it is consistently showing up as you at all times without fail. That feels good to me. It feels so good to me. We had a discussion in the class on Wednesday night around this concept because he says, when we discover more of ourselves in that which is a perception of that which is out there, greater than we are. There's something out there, he seems to suggest here, and it came up in class, and boy, wouldn't you know it, it always comes up in class, doesn't it?
Well, that's what class is for.
That's what class is for. It's where you get to ask me the hard questions. So the class discussion was rooted in this idea of God out there. And I said, and I actually said, you know what? While we teach a form of prayer, which we call spiritual mind treatment, which essentially is us speaking our truth as God, sometimes it feels really good and maybe allowing us to get into that place of feeling that is the that is the fuel in the creative engine, feeling is the fuel in the creative engine, to speak to God as out there, in the same way that I can speak to William or to Christy or to Jamie. I can speak to the infinite wholeness with the deepest recognition that I am the infinite wholeness at the same time. So sometimes in my prayer treatment work, I will get to the step where I am declaring my good and I am allowing myself to say what it is I would like to experience in life, and I will make a declarative statement by saying, "Get to work, God." But ultimately, it elicits a feeling in me which allows me to turn my faith over to the recognition and realization that when I say, "Get to work, God," I'm saying, "Get to work." Because I have now embodied a new principle, a new idea for what it is I would like to experience in life to such a deep degree, to such a deep degree that now I am impelled into motion for what it is I would like to experience. It's what we refer to in this philosophy as treat and move your feet. Treat and move your feet. But I am never one to say, treat and then just move your feet, disconnected from the treatment. For me, it is the impulse of treatment that leads me into moving my feet. And if I am not in that place of being impelled by the spiritual work, then I must continue to do the spiritual work until I am impelled into action. And I don't say compelled because that feels like something outside of me, like I'm going to be pushed into it. No, it is the inner impulse that leads me into what it is I would like to experience. So it's a delicate balance. The title of today's talk. To reconcile this notion that we teach, which is self-sufficiency, with the need for the perception of community or outside support. Why do we come here on a Sunday? I mean, I imagine this because on some level it's entertaining. I hope it's entertaining. But we come here for community first and foremost. We come here because we are in a consciousness with like-minded people to experience a common unity, which is what community means, common unity. And ultimately, what my work is to be illuminated, to be an expression of the very principle that we teach in a public forum so that I can spread the good and teach you what it is that I do and know and embody. And also, when I make mistakes, be transparent about it and say, you know what, I have made a mistake. And I know how to proceed when I make those mistakes, because truly there is no such thing as a mistake. There is only the perfect consequence to the action I've set in mind. And when I set something in mind and it feels like a misstep, I get to say, oh, I recognize this now as a misstep, and I get to choose something new. We are in a place of infinite choice. Ultimately, when I say, get to work, God, I am clear that the infinite creative energy is the core of me. So as I talk to God, it is a metaphor of that impulse of momentum. We are blessed with minds that think. And we have access to the infinite creative knowledge. We get to set the path. We get to set the course of our own spiritual evolution. We get to decide on our path. But how many of us lose balance and find ourselves allowing the things outside the self to set that course for us? There are times when I'm in class, and actually a couple of years ago I taught a prosperity class online, and there's a certain consciousness that frequently comes up in prosperity classes. There are people who say, I live on a fixed income. And I say, who fixed it? We laugh. We laugh, but here's the truth. If we know who we are, if we recognize and know that we are the infinite power and potential of the universe, then why would we ever choose to limit ourselves to a fixed income? It is also recognizing that our income source is not from one place. It is not from there. It is not from our jobs. Our income is a reflection of that which is ultimately in our minds, expressing as our minds, and we can experience the magnificent prosperity that we all dream about by deciding, first and foremost, that that is the life we are going to lead. But that's just one idea of that is one thing that we can take on as an idea from outside the self by people who all around us say, well, I live on a fixed income, and oh, well, I'm going to accept that I live on a fixed income too, and so that becomes our experience. This is true not just with money, it is true with love. We think that we lack love, but if we understand and know that we are love, then how could we ever conceive of anything other than being infinite love and having infinite love and deciding that we're going to go ahead and hug people? We are blessed with minds that think, but you know what? It is our work to step into thinking actively. Oh, healing ourselves. I talked, well, actually, I was going to say, when I talked about the healing candle, I didn't talk about that. That was William today. When I talk about the healing candle, when we talk about the healing candle, we frame it with this understanding that healing is the revelation of the divine creative energy at the core of all circumstances. Everything that exists is this infinite divine power, God. When we are looking to heal ourselves, and this is a philosophy that is born out of essentially faith healing, that I could fix a broken bone through the power of my mind. That is where this philosophy is rooted. Physical healing, but we have expanded our understanding of healing to be inclusive of everything. I talked last week about that table. Relationships, creative expression, physical health, and prosperity, and that our work is to ensure that none of those table legs is shorter than the other so that we are always in balance. Any place where those things are out of balance, that is the healing work to be done, and we are each and every one of us capable of doing it. So we have this balancing act of healing ourselves. It's rooted in the conundrum that we all face in New Thought, which is this: God as being out there versus God as being in here. Like Bobby in the show, the way that I interpret the show, part of being alive is rooted in that very notion that we are never alone. We are always wrapped in the hands of grace, in the arms of love. Love is everywhere. Love is everywhere. So start talking to love as love. Let yourself be transformed and healed in the act of transformation. Self-transformation is a scientific act, Ernest Holmes wrote. As the conscious thought pours truth into the subjective channels of the creative energy, the body is automatically renewed. This is mental healing. Mental healing is a conscious act, and mental healing leads to the circumstances of our lives falling into alignment with that which is in mind. Healing does not occur through suppression. It's the exact opposite. Healing occurs when we face the aspects of life that need healing. So, denials will do you no good. To suppress the idea that there are things out there that need to be addressed will do you no good. If you are ready for life to be healed, you must be able to look upon a circumstance that feels wrong and understand it for what it is and know that you have the capacity to change it. And the work starts and ends in mind, for that all will take care of itself. When we are lined up in consciousness, one alone in consciousness with the infinite constitutes a complete majority. Oh, everybody says that like I just came up with that. That's Ernest Holmes too. But what a brilliant statement. One alone in consciousness with the infinite constitutes a complete majority. Any perception that we are somehow limited or less than is simply that, a perception. And the perception leads to the expression of our lives. So if you are looking to lead a more expansive life, trust and know that you are the expansive life first and foremost in mind. So what needs healing in your life? Just check in right now. This is a rhetorical question. Check in right now with what needs healing in your life. Is something coming to mind for you right here and right now? Allow yourself to recognize that false image, which is exactly what it is. It is a false image in mind that is showing up perhaps in the world of circumstance in your life. Let go of that image. Trust and know that the renewal that is rooted in your mind is rooted in that notion that you are love, you are light, you are power, and that it is not a will of coercion, but it is a will of understanding more deeply in this moment than ever before, and the healing begins. I really am turning into a Southern Baptist minister. So I made a claim. I made a claim on a Sunday, like 2 years ago, that my expression and experience of ministry, which will always be entirely my own, but sometimes we look out there and we think, oh, what a magnificent ministry this person has. So I likened myself in this particular fashion. I said, the expression of my ministry is I'm going to be the gay, white Michael Beckwith of the Sonoran Desert. And if you know who Michael Beckwith is, and I'm sure many of you do because you're clapping, he just lets it ride, right? He just goes for it. Here's what I know. I know that you are worthy of the work that is to be done to heal your life. I know that you are worthy of it. You are worthy of infinite prosperity. You are worthy of loving relationships. You are worthy of amazing physical health. You are worthy of dynamic creative expression. That is the absolute truth. To live in a state of infinite becoming, which is our theme for the month, becoming. To live in a state of infinite becoming, require of yourself the healing that you seek. Demand yourself to be expressed at all times as the divine presence, and deepen into the recognition that the presence is your true identity. And here's your homework for the week. Talk to God as God. That's the homework, and so it is. One of the things I recognize and know is that, yes, I have a lot of energy. Is that getting close? Yes. Very close. In class 2 weeks ago, William had said, wrote a spiritual mind treatment, an affirmative prayer that said that he wanted to have a high energy Sunday experience. And I was like, what? Is this? And he said, it can be even higher energy. So I'm like, all right. Challenge accepted. But here's what I also know, that the infinite divine presence expresses itself in those moments of high energy, just as it does in the moments of quiet contemplation and reflection. So what I would love for us to do is to allow ourselves to take whatever kernel of truth we have heard today that resonates with our soul and bring it to mind. And if it's comfortable and you'd like to close your eyes, you're welcome to do so. And as we let that kernel of truth be present in our minds here and now, we can trust faithfully that it is magnificently flowing forth into expression. And sometimes the best way for this to unfold is in moments of silence. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release. As my heart opens up to the voice, I awake to these precious moments when I hear all that could ever be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God. I find myself. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release. As my heart opens up to the voice, I awake to these precious moments when I hear all that could ever be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God. Oh, I find God. I find myself. And so it is. I just have to take in that energy for a moment. It feels so lovely. Would you welcome a big bundle of energy to the stage, William Summers?
Thank you, Reverend Jonathan. I realize that I've neglected the last several weeks mentioning the different ways we can express our gratitude. There's cash, check, money order. For those of you watching online, there's a button you can push. And I noticed, as high energy as it was, Reverend Jonathan was lacking one thing in his talk today. And he mentioned that I'm on a fixed income. Well, there's this out there and that out there and this over there. And so I've become aware that some people are like, I would like to express more gratitude, but I'm giving all that I can financially right now. What else is there to do? Well, your spiritual center has come up with an idea. We've walked over and we've gotten that idea out of there. And so next Sunday, in addition to your regular contributions, we will be accepting small packages of homemade chocolate chip cookies. And I will personally, we will personally see that gratitude is properly expressed. You didn't see that coming,
I did not see that coming at all.
Okay, then you got your clicker on?
I do, yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. Would you now join me in reading our statement of gratitude?
Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless. It is evidence of my conviction that Spirit is the source and substance of my supply. I joyously contribute to the vision of my spiritual center, knowing that it returns to me, multiplied abundantly. Thank you, William. All right. So as the baskets go around, please don't put cookies in the basket now. As the baskets go around, let's sing our giving song. I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. As a reflection of my giving spirit, I include that. Let us take this moment of reflection to knowing that there is an infinite power and presence which is reflected in this thing called money. Money is love in action. Money is God in action. Money is peace in action. Money is energy simply expressed right here and right now to do great things in the world. And so I live in deep gratitude for all that has been collected here, and I know that it is utilized with the highest integrity by the leadership of this organization. In gratitude, letting myself fill up with that gratitude, I simply let it be as I relax, release, let go, allow, and know it to be so. Deepest blessings are abundant right here and right now. And let us say together, and so it is. Lights, Apple TV, Darwin.
Good morning, everyone. Here are your Tucson New Thought announcements for Sunday, March 8th, 2020. This coming Wednesday's midweek spiritual practice is another deepening meditation led by Reverend Jonathan. Join him for a heart-opening experience with a focus on the fourth chakra, the heart chakra. The meditation begins at 6 o'clock p.m. this Wednesday. Join Dr. Dream on March 28th as he brings his tour of love to Unity of Tucson. This is a fun and unique 3-hour healing bowl event. 111 Tibetan singing bowls coupled with essential oils and raw cacao. Learn about the chakras, how to balance them, and master the use of affirmations. There is no other event like it. Keep an eye on the information table to get notices for this event. Not on our email list? Sign up today by filling out a form on the information table and receive 5 pre-recorded affirmative prayers from Reverend Jonathan. These prayers are designed to support you in the primary areas of your life. Also, if you find you need spiritual support, fill out a prayer request form and place it in the yes box on the information table. The moment you make the commitment to an uplifted understanding and request prayer, the healing begins. For more information on everything that is happening at Tucson New Thought, check out our website at tucsonnewthought.org. And like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Just search for Tucson New Thought on these various platforms. Thank you for being here and sharing your magnificence with us.
Thank you, Darwin. There is something that I also, that came in after would you bring the lights back up, please? There is something that came up after I sent the script to Darwin for him to record, and I wanted to let you all know about it, but I'm going to preface it with this. What was it, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago? I don't remember exactly when it was. I sang a particular song. Something's calling me a little bit deeper, right? And I said, oh, well, I'm in contact with my friend Jamie Lula, who wrote that song, to see if he can be here in November, but what he has failed to let me know is that he's actually here in a couple weeks. Center for Spiritual Living Tucson and the Unity Spiritual Center of Peace have invited him, so they are co-producing Jamie Lula at the Unity Spiritual Center of Peace. You can get tickets at TucsonCSL.org. It is on March 22nd. That is 2 weeks from today, and I'm planning to be there, so I would love to have you join me there. I guarantee you're going to absolutely love Jamie. He's magnificent. The other thing that I found out today is that tickets for the Tibetan Bowl event, the Tour of Love, apparently they're going very quickly. So if you would like to get your tickets, do so. There are flyers for that event and for this event, which are on the information table. Pick that up, and you can find how to get tickets to all of it. So just wanted to let you know all of that. The other thing that I'm just going to put out there is to say that, all right, I'm going to address Unity real quick. We are moving to Unity as a community. Our last Sunday in this space will be March 29th. Our first Sunday at Unity of Tucson will be on April 5th. Here's what I need you to know, though. I have not yet signed the contract for a number of reasons. The primary reason is because I do live with the idea, and so it becomes effective in my life, even though I know that I'm in charge. I do live with the idea that when Mercury is in retrograde, you never sign a contract. Mercury goes direct on Tuesday. I'm signing the contract on Wednesday. If my mentor in ministry ever watches this, he's going to say, why are you talking about astrology? I'm going to say, I'm talking about it because it is something that I hold on to as a belief for myself, but you get to decide what works for you. So there's a lot that's, and I also want to acknowledge the fact that I know right now there are a lot of questions around what this looks like, how it's all going to unfold, and the truth is we will answer those questions. Today is not going to be the day that we answer those questions, but I promise you, you will have all the sufficient information that you need to ensure that we are integrating ourselves into that community magnificently and with joy and love in our hearts as we join these two communities together. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and let you know that that's what is happening at the moment. Yeah. I want to say thank you to Aiden for providing our technical support. I want to say thank you to Jaya for being our greeter. I think she may have, she's counting the money. I want to say thank you to Jaya for being our greeter this morning. I want to say thank you to Marvis for being our Leadership Council representative this morning. I want to say thank you to Deborah for providing our snacks today. Do stick around and enjoy snacks and social time with our community following the celebration. Oh, Karimon and William, of course. Thank you for inviting me to go with the flow. And I really do want to say thank you to our magnificent music team, Christy and Mike. Thank you so much for all that you bring. You ready to kick it up a notch and take us out of here? Yeah. All right, let's do that. The word has been spoken, the songs have been sung, our hearts have been opened, together as one. Center of creation, we are, divine congregation, we are, no separation, we are, here we stand, the power of one hand in hand. We shine like the sun, here we stand, together as one family. Here we stand. You know what? The truth has been spoken, the message received. Our hearts have been open to what we believe. Center of creation, we are divine revelation, we are no separation, we are, here we stand, the power of one hand in hand. We shine like the sun, here we stand, together as one family. Here we stand, the power of one hand in hand. We shine like the sun, here we stand, together as one family. Here we stand, here we stand, here we stand, here we stand. Make it a magnificent week, everyone.